So, tell us your name, because
My
I think this
name,
is going to be on my channel.
yeah. My name is Victor Garcia. About 10 years deep into working out,
Hmm.
and through that, I've learned stuff here and there, and thought I'd like to share it with somebody one day. So I think that's how me and you started seeing just like things that we had in
So,
common. We also did a Vipassana retreat together.
yep, we did.
Yeah, that's where we started off. That's
We
where our
did.
friendship began. It was a weird time. That was
Yeah.
a weird experience. I don't know how many other things you've done since then, but man, it's been quite a trip.
So I guess we can start from the not sorry, wrong ceremony. The
The
Vipassana. I was gonna say ayahuasca, but the Vipassana retreat.
uh
Tell the audience about your experience and what you got out of
the
it.
experience, it just felt like I was 13 years old all over again
Hmm.
because felt very much like you had to close off the world because you had to spend a lot of time in solitude, not talking to anybody, and have a daily, meditation routine, which, it's not exactly enforced upon you, but, you're there in that environment. So you just kind of just like go full force into it. So it wasn't very difficult to do, but you imagine someone who's doing the exact opposite, where they're busy all the time with work, with relationships, and just things, just the buzz of life, and you realize how much that can take you away from what's going on internally. And so those for those 10 days, it kind of just made you look at yourself not by how you show up in the world, but how, in a sense, how you show up. It gives you a sense of how you show up into the world, but you're able to really reflect on that and just like feel it. Because like I said, like I really felt like I was 13 years old all over again, not having any idea about the world and what it consists of, but just that same attitude and mentality was there. It was the strangest thing. The one thing that I got out of it, which might not be too uplifting and happy to hear, is how much my family sucked. And I love them dearly, but it was just also just like I realized that there was a lot of immaturity. And so just starting off from that foot, I'm not saying I'm like the most 100% fully mature person there too, but that perhaps some things that happened in my past were because that one of my parents, one of my brothers were just not taking it from a mature standpoint. And a lot of what you go forward doing in life and to the relationship that you create with other people is how you learned upon how you relate with your family. So I recognize that a lot of people had things to say about how I treated people that were close to me, even friends, close partners, where they weren't happy with the way that I was treating them. I was like, well, get over it. That's just the way I am. But looking back now, or moving forward now, I can say that it definitely necessitates a different approach if you want to become closer to somebody and treat somebody with respect, kindness, stuff like that. But yeah, that biggest learning point was realizing that a big portion of my family life kind of sucked, and I didn't really think of think of my family like that for the longest time. But we can't choose them, and I feel like that experience definitely. I'm still grateful to have them, but that experience made me say like, okay, doesn't traditions can die. It doesn't have to be like this moving forward. So, what about you?
One thing that comes up in mind was patience. I thought that I had a lot of patience. Even when somebody crosses my path while I'm driving, I'm not like, fuck you, asshole. I'm just like, cool. He passed me up, doesn't trigger me. And I had this story in my mind that I was patient. Nothing can move me, is what I'm saying. I realized that on day 3 or 4, dude, I was just like, I can't do this.
You were done with it.
I was done. What I'm trying to say is that it made me realize that I wasn't so patient. I'm not patient. And I want to get the hell out of that place, man. What stopped me was the people that I went with. So I don't know if you know, but I volunteered and I say, hey, yeah, sure. People from Houston, let's go in my car. I'll drive you over there to Dallas. And just imagine that these people were the ones to save me from leaving.
Hmm. Without them knowing either, because we couldn't talk to each other either.
Yeah, yeah. So imagine that.
Yeah.
I would have gave him sign language. I'm done. I'm done. But thanks to them, man.
You know what I feel like too? Like all the people that worked at the facility too, they were just like waiting for anybody just to like get up and leave because it's not that they had like didn't have full confidence in us, but they were just like, man, someone's gonna take off. Like without a doubt, someone's gonna quit.
But in my mind, I'm like, I got this. Like
Mm,
this is easy, right? Not easy at all.
mm,
The thing that I found to be easy was the no talking. Believe it or not,
mm.
I was okay with that. It was mostly like being with myself,
Yeah, not having something to do.
not having something to do.
Yeah.
Do I don't know if you know, but they gave us this portfolio where you can read the instructions, like what is vipassana
Yeah.
and
The
what's the
pamphlet.
benefit, the pamphlet.
Yeah,
And I remember, dude, I read that pamphlet
yeah.
10 times through.
You're not the only one, dude. You're not the only one.
Oh my God. Because I didn't know what else to do. Like, it's almost like, if you think about it, I was seeking something external.
Mm,
And that was my way to uh, be out versus in,
mhm,
is reading, even reading a pamphlet to get out of home.
mhm.
And so I find myself doing this a lot in the real world, dude. Like, I'll use food to get away from home base, which is, your inner self. And I find that I do that a lot, with food, with entertainment, um, even education.
I've been realizing just how much I can escape and how easy it is and
Mhm.
how fruitless it is sometimes, but it's also part of it. Like not everything has a meaning.
Mhm.
Not everything has a point. Sometimes you just do a thing just to do a thing. And
Well, I'd like to know what's
what
behind that.
what that looks like for me.
Why would you do something that there's no meaning out of it, right?
I think it's to get away from the ego, to think that, oh, I do this thing because it's something for me to express myself out of. Where you're just like today, I don't maybe I'm getting off track here, but it's just kind of like I don't know, make things more simple. I think instead of making like such a big deal out of every activity has to be meaningful and has to define me and mean something to me. I don't know. It seems more daunting that way and takes on it makes me think it's such a bigger thing than it actually needs to be.
Hmm.
Like you brush your teeth, right? You know, it's good for your health, but it's also just like a very insignificant thing. I don't know. Maybe I think I'm confusing myself, if I'm being honest.
We can even talk about science. What was it? There's something along the lines where there's like the habits that you do without thinking, and it's something to deal with either the frontal or
Cerebellum?
cerebellum, where you have all your habits, so the
That's like
automatic habits.
that's like reptile brain. That's like your pulse and your organ system.
So yeah, so it's just stuff that you do, normally, but those things are learned behaviors. What's even further than, washing your mouth, like with, toothpaste and, your brush.
Mm.
Where did we learn that from?
It was invented for oral care to
Okay.
prevent cavities and hygiene,
Okay. So
prevent
who
disease and all that stuff.
who invented that, So even behind that, I thought that we did this naturally in the past
Mm,
when we would eat nose to tail,
mm,
right? And so you would have bones, right? That supposedly cleans your teeth, because we also give bone to dogs because supposedly that helps clean their teeth. or they'll use back in the day they would use what certain branches to chew on it, right? I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, it's like bark or something. I don't know what the
Mm-hmm.
hell they use, but
I remember seeing documentaries of just like Aborigine people and people that lived out in the fucking wild. They're just like using random sticks to just brush their teeth.
there you go.
Yeah.
So it's
We should go back to gnawing on bones to clean our teeth. I'd
like
like that.
I guess you can say they invented something more. There was a meaning for them
Hmm.
to invent that.
Yeah, everything's practical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, I will say that as far as entertainment goes, like I've watched more reels and I watched more social media than I ever have.
Really?
And I'm just like, what the fuck, man? It's just I remember at some point like I was just away from it and didn't want to deal with it. But like I'm doing it and I'm just like, man, this shit's not so bad. Like it's not poison.
Right.
And then I thought about people who do difficult things and they're just like, I'm not going throughout the entire day doing difficult thing after difficult thing after difficult thing after difficult thing. I just leave it up to one or two things. Maybe one is making money, maybe one is your workout, maybe one is working on a relationship. But it's not like we're built for doing difficult thing after difficult thing after difficult thing. It's things that we're doing throughout the day just to be like to get away from that difficult thing because that difficult thing is so daunting that it's just like we need all this other meaningless shit to do.
Right.
I feel like.
Something that comes up in my mind, dude. The more I grow, the more I get older, I get wiser, and I realize that all this stuff, this external stuff, gets away from me, gets away from me. But part of me also wants to have that break. Sometimes I want to watch the reels. Sometimes I want to watch, you know, Huberman and
Mm,
Ben Greenfield and Paul Chek
mm,
and Elliot Holes because at least part of me feels it's entertaining,
mm,
and I get stimulant. There's some stimulants, by watching that kind of stuff.
mm.
I guess I don't give myself some grace. I don't give
Yeah,
myself some grace.
yeah.
You
Um,
know.
yeah, throttling off the gas
Hmm.
is I don't know. Maybe it's your zodiac sign, dude. I know you're in Aries.
I'm fired, dude. I'm
You're
fired.
fiery as fuck,
And
yeah.
then I burn myself out.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like I do inner work and then I burn myself out.
Hmm.
I do something to do with career, build business, and then I burn myself out.
Hmm.
So yeah, man, it's like I'm a ram. I just want to go through doors.
Hmm.
That's how I operate.
That's not bad. Um, I used to when I lived with an ex-girlfriend of mine, and this thought has been coming to my mind more so now.
Hmm.
I didn't realize it then, but my ex-girlfriend's parents had a nickname for me. They called me Sloth. Because if it was just up to me, I would just be laying around all day not doing a damn
Really?
thing. Yeah. Other than, making money, working out, or
Hmm.
cooking. Like top three activities for me.
Hmm.
Like chilling, cooking, eating, working out. I find that like if I'm chilling, that's because I worked out
Hmm.
and so on and so forth. But like it makes sense for them to call me that. I didn't realize it at the time that was a big part of my personality. Like this motherfucker just likes to just chill and lay up all day. I'm like, who
Yeah,
doesn't, dude? It's the
yeah,
best thing ever.
yeah. So define sloth even more.
Sl- Sloth is like you look at the animal and it's just like moving along slowly, not very enthusiastic, but just kind of like, man, fuck this shit. Like moving through life like that,
Hmm.
just like coasting, coasting, coasting.
Hmm.
And I hear points that people make these days too. Well, just like maybe those people are uninspired, and I think that's absolutely true. It's like if I have to do something, I'm gonna do it at my own speed
Hmm.
because it doesn't mean a whole lot to me unless I have like some sort of investment in it. Like I go shopping every day because I'm passionate about like making sure I get the macronutrients, micronutrients, nutrition that I need to fuel myself for today, for the next day, so on and so forth, for as long as I live. I'm passionate about that because I know if I lack in energy, I'm gonna come up short somewhere, and I don't like losing.
Hmm.
And that's one thing about me. If I'm gonna get into an engagement with somebody, I don't like to get into it knowing that I'm gonna lose. I know you have to choose your battles, right? So if I can get a win here, a win there, a win there, then I'll do it and I'll be passionate about it. But if I'm just doing things that I don't want to do because I don't think I'm gonna get a win,
Hmm.
maybe I find that I could work on that and see that I do get a win of doing little things. Maybe. Um, it's not. I don't know. It's not my main focus really, but I have been enjoying random conversations with people at the gym,
Hmm.
especially like now, because people are motivated to get back in the gym and start working out, and then you hear something, and then I want to challenge it, or it's just like, oh well, I'll go home and I'll have a salad because I need to keep my calories low. I'm like, you need calories so you can grow and so you can recover. That was one of my biggest n- biggest what's the word I'm looking for? The opposite of a focal point. One of the things that I was lacking was that I feel like I always needed to be in a caloric deficit
Hmm.
to continue losing weight. But it wasn't until I like increased my caloric intake where I started like seeing an increase in performance. I'm just like, okay,
Hmm.
like because I had such of a profound experience in me, and I hear other people going the same path as me, where like I realize that path I fucked up. I'm just like, hey, stay off that path, man. Like I don't know, that seems necessary too. Just like that's something I give a shit about.
It seems like when you hear that, it triggered you to go up there and say something,
Mm,
right?
mm,
Which goes back to it was meaningful for you to go up there.
mm,
You're a meaningful guy, whether you like it or not, or whether
right,
you believe it or not,
right,
because that made you move up there and say something
yeah,
and voice your experience and hear their experience to create a meaningful conversation.
mm,
Because essentially, it's going to help them out
yeah,
and it's going to help you out to see their viewpoint, their perspective.
yeah. I'm trying to tell my dad to eat more butter.
Oh, dude, grass fed,
Yeah,
grass
yeah.
fed,
He,
pasture raised.
dude, they still buy corn oil,
Oh man,
and
corn
I'm
oil.
just like, he likes sending me stuff through Facebook, and I'm sending him stuff on Facebook
Mm,
about how to eat more butter.
okay.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't know that corn oil, you got what?
high omega 6.
Yeah, very high omega 6, which is creates inflammation in your body. I heard it creates tumors and whatnot. Super bad for you, super bad for you. But a lot of people think that these oils are healthy because it says vegetable oil,
Yeah,
and it's the opposite.
yeah,
It's they're getting away from actual butter that comes from from healthy land, healthy cows, and I'm talking about grass fed pasture raised animals, right?
absolutely.
But a lot of people think that the vegetable oils is super healthy, so they'll even use, believe it or not, olive oil. A lot of people don't know how to use olive oil,
Hmm.
and they will overheat it, and it will oxidize, and then that becomes just like another inflammation oil, like the corn oil and the vegetable oil.
Hmm.
And on top of that, people don't realize that it's important to buy the right kind of olive oil because there's some olive oil that also are in a glass container that isn't dark, and even that, when it's in a clear container, gets exposed, and it's very delicate, and so it becomes that corn oil.
Hmm.
um, so I guess what I'm trying to say is that learning, educating yourself in that way is very important for your health. And yeah, there is a lot of things that we don't know either. There's other things that I'm probably doing that I don't know.
Hmm.
But I guess what I'm trying to say is that for the people that are trying to be healthy, live longer,
I would say live fuller too,
live fuller.
because if you don't have enough, if you don't have enough vitality, you just like you're passing through life just weak in a weak way.
Paul Chek says it best, man. Just if you can focus on the fundamentals you're already winning.
Mm.
Just the fundamentals. Just are you having enough water? Are you eating whole foods? Are you moving enough? Are you sleeping enough? Like these are fundamentals that's going to help you live that fuller, longer, healthier lifestyle. And we want to make it complicated. And I think that's the ego that wants to make it complicated.
Complicated is what, like a protein bar.
Yep.
It's fucking, I don't know, like I see those RX 100,
Mm-hmm.
like a calorie fucking surpluses thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that looks like a whole lot of inflammation too. But for dudes that are on gear
Yeah.
and eat that, that's great for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like they can utilize those calories and like they'll grow quick. But the shortcut like idea for me where it's just like someone can go to like a type of, I imagine like a typical meal breakfast for somebody is just like, I'll get a salad from here and some chips and eat it with like a crappy salad dressing, and it's definitely not gonna make me full or gonna replenish my glycogen stores for the next few hours, but it's just gonna like put a band-aid over like the real issue. um I mean, I ate that way for not I ate that way because I was lazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I used to eat like a lot of oats, like
Mm-hmm.
instant oatmeal oats, and I'm just like, God damn, I can't believe I wrecked myself with those.
Mm-hmm.
I used to eat a lot of Cliff Bars, dude.
Mm.
And I thought it was good because it had a good amount of protein in it, but
And it said organic,
organic.
right? And you're like, holy shit, this is good. But
Yeah,
then little that you know,
yeah,
shit
loaded
ton
with
of
sugar.
sugar.
Yeah, dude.
Jinx.
Dude, I was going to the Dude, I was going to the bathroom so much,
Yeah.
not realizing that kind of shit was messing me up.
Mm-hmm.
To this day, like I don't I my sister brought over some cheese or some pumpkin pie or
Mm-hmm.
something, and my relatives from Mexico were here, and they're older. They're like older, like as old as my parents. And she brought over like a coconut cream pie and a pumpkin cheesecake or something like that. And I'm like, I'm not gonna give these people a whole slice of that shit because they're old.
Yeah,
They're gonna sleep for the next 8 hours if they have a slice of that. So I gave them like a little slice of it. But they're also the kind of people to not say no if they're offered
of
something.
course.
And so my sister saw me give him like a piece of, like, hey, you want to try it? And she's like, yeah, what is it? Like, it's pumpkin pie. Have a piece. And they're like, Victor, just give him a slice. That's just so much sugar. But eventually, my sister got up and
Mm-hmm.
served him in peace, and I'm just like, all right, I guess, because they're not the type of people to say look, say no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's crazy, man. I found myself in you because I had the same experience. You're you care about people.
yeah,
I care about people,
yeah.
and this is what I do. Like I'm gonna give you an example. My uncle wants chips, and I was like, okay, I'll give you some chips. And so you know what kind of chips I give him?
Maybe some banana plantain
No,
chips.
no, no. I don't go that far.
Okay.
I still give him chips, but I'll buy the organic, the one
Mm,
that doesn't have seed oil. So yeah, believe it or not, even organic foods have, these seed oils, these inflammation type oils. But I would look at the labels. I'm like, let me find something that's closer to what he wants. He says he wants
Doritos.
Doritos. All right, let me find something that's similar to Doritos. So I come here with a bag of something like Doritos
Hmm.
with like the cassava chips. I think that I give it to them, give it to him, and I'm like, see, it's not that bad. He's like, they're all right.
Yeah.
He's eating it. They're all right.
But that kick that people get from all the whatever compounds
Mm-hmm.
that make shit taste better from a Doritos or Lay's,
Mm-hmm.
dude, MSG.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, I know what MSG tastes like. I think I had a bag that I had misplaced in my trunk from when I was delivering groceries the other day, and it was a bag of HEB sea salt chips. And I'm like, okay, like I'm not gonna like I forgot to drop them off at my customer's place. And so just like I wound up at home with them and like, oh shit, I forgot to drop this off. But I didn't remember who I'd take it back to. It might have been like a day afterward.
Mm-hmm.
So I take it home and I don't touch them. I just tell my family like, hey, I got these chips from work. Like I can't take them to the customer, so y'all have at them. I didn't touch them. And then I was making breakfast and I had one, and I tasted it and was like, dude, that tastes like MSG, like you would not believe. Like as soon as it touched my tongue, I was like, dude, that's too good for human consumption.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that hit and a hit and a hit and a hit and a hit. And I'm just like, if someone eats this, just like they'll never get tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's those foods that have all that shit, and it's just I it just stacks. It just stacks up. My buddy, the one we were talking about earlier, that had the podcast, that has a podcast, his kryptonite was like this buffalo blue cheese dip from
Mm-hmm.
HEB and those chips.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, dude, I'm like 3 months without having I'm 3 months without having those buffalo blue cheese and
Yeah.
HEB sea salt chips. And I'm like, dude, how better do you feel? And he's
Yeah.
like, dude, it's so much better. That's just so many calories for
Yeah.
him to consume.
I tell my clients about this. I say, because there's this method I call this for that method. This is just another way to help my clients lose weight. That if you're consuming, this MSG crap, right? For instance, let's use the Doritos example. Then what you can do is find something that's healthy, but that's like an alternative to those chips.
Mm.
And that's how you can get closer and closer and closer and closer to the fundamentals of eating whole foods.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, baked potato chips. Like you bake your own potato chips.
No shit, you do that?
No.
But
No.
there's the option.
But there's the option.
I'd rather just like roast them, like cook them in some butter on the stove.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
Because at least you know where that potato came from,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you know that again, the goal here is to get to the point where you're able to recognize what you're consuming. For instance, that baked potato, I got it from the farmer's market.
Mm.
I got it from the people that they responsibly grow their own potatoes, right? And so you know that, and so you're just like, hell yeah.
Yeah. Your relationship to your food.
Yeah, high quality, dude. High quality meal. The people that go to these restaurants, right? And you pay a fortune. That quality of food is not comparable to the one that you just made at home from the farmer's market, from that responsible farmer.
Yeah, you're paying the cook more so than you are paying for the produce.
That's not even like the highest quality you can get at these fancy restaurants.
No.
Little do you know is that they're using that freaking canola oil on your food.
Even if it were good quality food and they're still using that bullshit oil, it'd be might as well throw it in the trash.
Pretty much. There's
only one place that I would consider going out to eat at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Ruggles Black.
So
I hear their menu is completely paleo. And I've gone there about 3 times, never been disappointed. Like I'm looking at the ingredients, like they show the kind of oils that they use, like they say in the title of like whatever dish. I got some ramen, not some ramen. I got some pho once, and it's just like organic oxtail and beef rib in like braised in the stew, in the broth, and like where the noodles were made and how they're made and all this shit. And just like there's no like you could pay me to go to another restaurant, but I'd still even have that mindset, and I wouldn't feel comfortable about like ordering from that place unless I knew just like what they're using in the kitchen, dude. Because it like, I think I had something. I might have had some French fries, like some Papa's barbecue French fries, and I was like, okay, this is just a cheat meal, a cheat day, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna go over on my carbs for the day, and I got to work out. But it was called brisket fries, and so they would throw barbecue sauce on top of some French fries and some cheese and then some brisket on top of that, and I'm like, that's kind of bomb. But after like that day, I'm just like, oh, what's wrong with me? Why am I feeling so sluggish and awful? It's just, of course, peanut oil is just like, I was gonna say this about corn oil that I mentioned earlier. I think it has a high amount of oxalic acid, which is the same thing with peanuts. And I think that's what most people respond to when they say that they have a peanut allergy as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's just some people say that, looking up all these ingredients in your food, it's so overwhelming and so embedded in the way that you are. Don't you drive yourself crazy? I'm like, no. I feel much more sane doing that than not doing that, because I do need to know what's in my food.
Yeah. For the people that feel that ti feel that way, I would say you don't have to make it so complicated by researching every ingredient that's in the ingredient list. What you can do instead is just, if you don't understand what the ingredient is, it's most likely not good for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what it is, like it says, it has butter, it has sea salt, organic peanuts, and that's it. But once it says
Maltodextrin,
maltodextrin, B something something something,
benzohybacidic
yeah,
acid,
I can't even say the damn
some
word.
scientific terms.
Scientific terms. So if it has
Yeah.
scientific terms, most likely it's going to give you scientific results.
We're talking about mutations.
Mutations for
Oh
sure.
God.
Yeah, we can't outsmart Mother Nature, bro.
No,
We
man.
just can't.
We got a particular set of hardware that we need to learn how to utilize properly.
It's funny because the more we think we're right, the more we get away from being right.
Can't be right all the time.
I don't know what's right. I like to stay open, dude. I like to be like open minded and
Yeah.
knowing that even what I think might be true might not be true tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a healthy amount of self-doubt too. Like maybe one day, you know, I find myself that I can't store meat for a long time. Like I used to meal prep back in the day. I used to take out a Sunday and cook my 4 meals for work for throughout the week. Because at that time I didn't have a lot of time to myself. I worked like 6 to 5, and so it was very much like I don't want to cook every night, cook every day. Right now I do that, and I I know now, even if I just store like a hamburger patty that I made for more than 8 hours in the day, like I'm gonna be like, I'm not gonna eat that. I'm not gonna touch that. I rather make something fresh.
Mm.
A lot of that has to do with just the way that I'm eating, and it's just like I can even feel the difference. You know, I used to think that like, oh, I can just meal prep all day for a whole bunch of weeks, and the food won't go bad. But no, you store it in plastic stuff, or even aluminum foil. I heard was bad for you.
Yeah.
Because I got like I stopped using aluminum in my deodorant like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I stink more, but that's because I'm not using that aluminum to absorb all the smells. Eventually gets stored up in your body, gets up in your soft tissue. Um, I don't know. It's just a week. It's just this. Yeah, some of the stuff out there that's in the environment makes us weak.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was thankful to my sister when she graduated college. She graduated high school when I was maybe in like 5th grade, and she went off to college. And in college, they inundate you with this like, you shouldn't drink soda, and you should become a vegetarian.
Mm.
I think my sister became a vegetarian for like 4 years when she was up there, and probably because it was just a little bit more expensive to get red meat there. I think she said that like even though she's talking about McDonald's, it was like twice the price where she went to school for a Big Mac than it was for us in Texas, which was like was dumbfounded.
Yeah.
And then when she came back and she graduated, she told my dad to stop buying soda, and she started coming home with like cases of Ozarka water. And I'm just like, what the fuck is happening, dude?
Who are you?
We used to go to the store every day for a 6 pack of soda to have with dinner. And even then, like we would eat and I would drink one during dinner, and then like, all right, time to re-up, time to get that second cup. Go back into like we had an ice maker at the time too, so it was on at all times. You can anytime you want to just go and grab a full cup of ice and like drink a soda. It was just like so much. It's so easy. We made it so easy for ourselves, right? And then my sister busts home with like a fucking a case of plastic bottles of water. Now there's a little bit of pushback on plastics, definitely because of the phthalates that are in plastic, the BPH or BPA,
BPA. Yeah.
the BPA bullshit
Oh
that's in
yeah,
there
that's
from
all sales, dude. That's
Yeah.
all sales to make
It,
you
the
safe, but it's not.
mm.
That's all crap, man.
Yeah, yeah. You're like you're saying that even though it says BPA free or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
that it can still contain like the phthalates.
If it's something that it's man made, you got to chemically make that
Right,
somehow.
right. First it comes from a petroleum product. It's a byproduct of petroleum processing.
Mm.
And I'm not ruling out all petroleum processing because you
Mhm.
need that to run the damn country, but the byproduct that gets thrown away is used in these products you're saying. Once it started popping up on different packages and stuff, then you're just like, well, it says BPA free, but like what exactly is BPA and is it actually safer for us even though it says BPA free? There might be some other compound in there that can fuck with you.
Yeah, dude. Unknown chemical. It's gonna leach into your water. No, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
What breaks it down? Sun,
Yeah.
heat.
Yeah. Just like you were saying about the olive oil
Yeah,
earlier.
there you go.
Yeah.
You can't escape that.
No.
Oh shoot, I'm so hungry, bro. Talking about food makes me hungry.
Okay.
I wonder what part of me wants that burger, that grass-fed burger,
Yeah.
pasture raised
Dude, buffalo is probably the my favorite red meat right now.
buffalo.
Yeah. I don't have it a lot because compared to like a pound of grass-fed, just like regular beef,
Hmm.
it's like $4 or $5.
Yeah.
So I can get 2 pounds of meat
Hmm.
for the price of 1 pound of buffalo meat. But so good.
Dude,
Some of the best. I don't mean to like dive the knife deeper into your stomach and make you hungrier.
you
But
are. Thank you for that.
yeah,
I appreciate that.
you got it.
I know you do it for out of love,
Uh-huh.
and I will receive that.
Just sharing my
out of love.
passionate side.
Thank you. It's funny because every time we get together and we talk, man, we can go on and on about food. Maybe it's my inner fatty. As I grow older and the more I learn about myself, I realize that I guess and I think we talked about this earlier, but I use food to cope
Yeah.
with things.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's why I called myself foodies because these foods allow me to get away from self. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying?
But
So sometimes
yeah.
I'll grab those potato chips and now mind you, these are organic. And
There's safe outlets for these addictions we
I'll
have.
just savor them and I say, "Oh, that's so good." And
Yeah.
then I get to explore what how that tastes and take my time and eat it. But yeah, sometimes I'll not do that and I'll just
Mhm.
munch on and use that as a distraction.
Definitely.
Mm.
Sometimes whenever I have a disrupted sleeping pattern,
Yeah.
I would like start at falling asleep at 2 or 3,
Mhm.
and then it'll become chronically later. And up until about 5 a.m. is when one of my favorite kolache shops opens up.
Dude, 8-year-old me.
So I would be like, I'm just gonna stay up later and then wait for the kolache shop to open up, and I'll go pick up a
Oh.
couple meaning 3.
So when did you start eating that?
The
At what
kolaches?
age?
See, growing up, it's great that you had a backup though.
Oh yeah, I always stay strapped.
You sound so gangster, dude.
All right. Let's get the party started. All right, we're back. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to F45. My name is Alejandro Something, and today we have my man,
Victor.
Victor. I'm kidding.
Uh-huh.
So you were talking about donut holes.
Kolaches.
Kolaches.
Yeah. So, and then you asked me, when did this start for me?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that my parents are pretty good about keeping junk food away from the house.
Mm-hmm.
I had a next door neighbor whose grandmother worked at a Little Debbie kind of grocery store. So it was the bakery, but attached to the bakery was the like a little store where you can go and get like discount stuff. And they always had that stuff in their house. And I would want to go in there and like kind of raid their pantry. And my parents didn't have any of that. They didn't buy any like the cupcakes or ding dongs or Twinkies or ho hos and any of that stuff. So they were good about keeping that out of the house. The real problem was soda.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, I discovered these kolaches when I was working for a place when back when I was like 25.
Okay.
The reason I like them so much is because it's German owned, it's not a chain, and they make their own dough. And instead of using like these little Oscar Mayer weenies that you find in like something at a like a Shipley's Donuts, like they have Texas sized sausages inside of the kolache. And so it's a thicker sausage and like a homemade bread wrapped around it for the kolache. Dude, it's just the best kolache I've ever had in my entire life. And they have other like pastries and stuff.
Yeah.
They use like puff pastry and like natural made jelly. It's just
Mhm.
like it's the worst stuff for you, but it's like you're saying, like you get the organic chips and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's higher quality because it's not so commercial and everything's really handmade. When I have something come to my mind
Hmm.
where it's like, damn, I want to stop at Whataburger and pick up something from there.
Yeah.
I was like, what's actually going on in my body?
Hmm.
Like, should I dose some magnesium? Do I need some B vitamins? Do I need to lay off the caffeine? Do I need sleep? Or the water is a very important one. Um, I do notice, I've tend to notice more now how often I'm going to the restroom. And I always want to add in a little bit of electrolytes or some sea salt to my water, like hands down. Like I feel like I'm wasting water if there's no minerals in it because it'll just like you can probably absorb it, but I heard that if you're just like consuming regular water on its own, that it can actually extract minerals from you. So like I'm very wary of that now.
Yeah, so it just depends. Like if you have a naked water, I call it naked water, and that's water coming from
Pornographic water.
what do you call it?
Pornographic
Yeah, I guess
water.
so. Yeah, yeah. And so what we're referring to is reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis, what it does is it abstracts all the minerals off of the water, all the good stuff that comes from the water. You abstract it, right, to clean the water,
Mm,
right? Once you clean the water, once you abstract all the minerals, then you have naked or pornographic water.
mm,
Okay, so then you have an offbeat water. You consume that water, and now the body's like, "What the fuck is this?
mm.
What the hell did you put in my body?"
Your
And so
body's like, oh, I gotta use some of my own
so now
shit to
I
get rid
gotta
of it. Yeah.
exactly. And so then what it does, it extracts it from your own bones to create this mineral and make it part of you, the water.
Hmm.
And so that's the crazy part is that the more we mess around with Mother Nature, we have to
Fight back.
fight back. So it's like, damn, like it's
I'm
crazy.
yeah, I'm really scared. Even I wouldn't say scared, but I know the I should be concerned about the water I'm using even to bathe.
Mm.
Like I hear these high up people or high tech people or just like people that we look up to. They're using whole water filtration systems to get rid of, heavy metals. I guess they call it hard water, or I'm not sure, but essentially, if you don't have a foolproof uh, what's the filtration system, like you're receiving like hard water, the same water that we want to stay away from in like in your tap is the same water that we're showering in, and even that's still absorbable through our skin.
Yeah.
I don't know. I personally stopped drinking shower water when I was a kid, but it's just like we can still absorb it through our skin.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that. And it goes back to what do you put on your skin? What kind of chemical do you put in your skin?
Mhm.
Like lotions. What kind of lotions are you putting in your skin? So all that goes inside you. And a lot of people don't know that. They think that because it's outside, they're good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like that.
Yeah, very surface level.
Very surface
I
level.
haven't used cologne since I was probably in middle school.
Oh,
That's when like Polo and Ralph Lauren
yeah.
like was the shit. And I would see even like it's kind of what's the word? It's kind of unpopular because you see like the amount of attention that wearing a good perfume or cologne for specifically for men, wearing a good cologne can like attract a woman to you much more rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm just like I wouldn't even go as far as just to like put cologne on me just so I can get like female attention.
Mm.
I've heard from a few people that they like the my scent or like the hormones that I'm giving off, and they're just like they just feel safe,
Hmm.
and they don't like, because even when I pass by like a female, usually like older, that has like a strong scent to them, I'm just like I'm turned off like immediately. Like, you're trying to throw me off or something. Like, you're trying to like almost be something you're not. You're trying to trick me. I'm just like, I'm not interested. Thank you.
Well, it could be that the cleaner our bodies, the more we can sense synthetic,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I smell synthetic.
Yeah,
I smell chemical.
not natural.
And I'm just like, oh man, my nose, it overpowers it. And I'm just
Mhm.
like, and so
Dude,
sometimes,
I caught a guy in the gym wearing cologne. I'm just so
yeah.
like, dude, not here.
Yeah, man, I just meet people where they're at, man, where they're at right now, and I try to put myself in their shoes. So if someone wants to wear cologne, go for it. Just give me 50 feet. You see what I'm saying? Give me 50 feet because I'll probably get a headache from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. What I'm trying to tell you is synthetic will create headaches. So if someone's wearing this cologne, then they don't link it to that.
Yeah. Adverse feelings. Yeah.
Exactly. Where is this headache coming from? So it's like such a holistic approach to all these symptoms that you receive. We can even make it more holistic. Even tightness create headaches. Like you have a tight neck,
Yeah.
traps, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That will create this headache. So a lot of people think it's like, oh, I'm gonna take an aspirin to get rid of this headache. You're just putting a band-aid on that symptom.
Yeah.
And just remember, for the audience, just remember that the more you do this, the bigger it's going to get. And you will not be able to hide that shit with a band-aid.
No.
You
No.
will not be able to.
The amount of work that it takes to dig out a bad pattern and a bad habit, it's compared to how easy it is to get yourself into this position. Because I'm pretty sure I've realized that I have a little bit of like what they call cell phone neck, where sometimes I'm laying down and like my head is up like this and looking at my phone, and I'm just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
When you're in that mode, you don't realize it, but
Exactly.
the amount of like reward that you get from looking at your phone and being in this position, you're addicted to being in that position, being on your phone. It's just it's not just your phone looking at it, like it involves your body too.
Yeah. So the body will always go back to what's easy. What's that word I'm looking for?
Yeah, yeah. Default thinking pattern.
Default thinking pattern. You can
Yeah.
call it compensating.
Okay.
You're compensating your entire life.
Yeah.
So not only do you compensate at the gym where you work out, but you compensate your own life.
Yeah, yeah. When you're a lot of what's important in the gym is what you do outside of the gym for sure.
Yeah.
Because if you're sitting a lot and you go in and try to bang out some squats, it's like, well, you've been sitting all the time, so we're gonna make it difficult for your quads to flex and to fire. So you're gonna have to work on that too. Like I've tried to just like go straight into my workout and put on like, at least like a plate whenever I'm doing like a back squat or something. And then I'm just like, no, my quads aren't awake yet. Like I got to do like free, like no weight on the bar, and grab the bar and do like 20 reps just to like fire up the neurons to just like, okay, you ready to pump blood out of these motherfuckers or not? I think one of the reasons why I'm coughing up a lot of mucus right now is because of I think I had a lot of buildup in my lymphatic system. And so what I've been doing now is doing a foam roller on my spine and on my quads. And I think, theoretically, I think that that's been like leading me to pump more lymphatic fluid a little bit in a little bit more healthier way, because I don't walk as much as I should. They say that walking is just good for your digestion. And when I do go for a walk, I'm just like, all right, I'm just like giving it like my full effort into this walk. I go for like an hour. And just like the way that I feel after that, I'm just like my hips aren't as tight, like my calves are like fully firing, and my toes are all, I can feel all of them, and then my posture improves. It's so beneficial, man.
Dude, that right there, at least in my definition, that's called self-care.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, taking care of your massaging your body
Mm-hmm.
through exercise.
Through exercise.
Yeah, the highest form of it.
Mm-hmm. So you got self-care with
Because I
that.
yeah.
A lot of people will say, I'm gonna watch TV for self-care. I'm like, there's more. There's more. I'm gonna lay in bed, watch TV.
Yeah,
That's my self-care,
yeah.
and my heart goes to you. But there are alternatives.
I'm gonna watch a series.
I'm gonna watch a series.
Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. What about you? What about you? What about your body? What about your mind? What about uh, nourishing yourself?
Mm,
You see what I'm saying? There are alternatives. These are just learned behaviors.
hmm.
This is what your dad did. This is what your mom did.
Yeah.
And my goal is to shatter that. Like you don't have to do what they do.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I'm here to give you more alternatives to see that there are more things you can do for your body, for your mind, and for your spirit.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, at least in my experience, that leads to more fulfilled life.
Mm.
My experience.
Mm.
I might be wrong.
No, without a doubt, man. Because I can tell you that the life of something like that leads to, and I have a perfect example of that at home. It's just my brother's favorite position is right in front of the TV, and he's asked me on numerous occasions like, "Hey, you want to sit down and watch this with me?" I'm like, "Nah, man, I can't sit down as much as you do, dude. Like I gotta get out and I gotta get moving." And I mean, my parents kind of just fell into that too. And I don't look down on them. I get it. They can only do so much. But yeah, it just kind of like that's the default. And it's tough. It's tough to get out of it too because like I even said now, like I'm finding myself. Well, it's difficult. I'm finding myself looking at my phone for a little bit more often than I would like to. But that's also because I'm not giving myself things to do that are meaningful for me. I would even say being here, for example, talking about like my passions and just like things I care about and my point of views, that's very meaningful. But when I'm hooked up and like fidgeting around on a device, it's very meaningless. It's very meaningless.
Oh man,
It's
I
very
love that.
stimulating, but very
I
meaningless.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Damn, dude. And I think that's why I find compassion is right there. What you just said is that it's hard to break these patterns that are ingrained in your nervous system. Super hard to because again, we've done it since we were little kids, you know? And so that's why I always tell people if they want to change something, start small, right? Start small. But ultimately, if there's something even before starting small, and that is why you're self sabotaging.
Mm.
Why don't you want to change? I mean, you say you want to change, but why aren't you showing that you want to change?
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So there's something behind it where they benefit from that changing.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, everything that we do, there's pros and cons. There's more. This bad habit that you have probably has more pros than cons.
I see where you're getting at. Yeah.
There's going to be a point in time where the cons outweigh the pros from this bad behavior.
Mm.
You say you want to change.
Immediate pleasure versus long-term pleasure.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah. I like the approach that I'm taking to coffee now because I love it. It's my most favorite thing in the world, and pretty sure just like the amount of like of the amount of things that it can really do for you on a physiological level. It's good for like pre-workout. It's good for mental cognition. It's almost like it's almost like a PED, performance enhancement.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because just like I've worked out without caffeine. I've worked out with caffeine. I always pick with caffeine. But I make sure that I make sure that I'm like my approach now is like one day on, one day off. Because I can see the effects that it has to me. If I'm not exuding much like effort on a day that I'm not working out, then I won't need it. I'm having a little bit of tea, but as far as like the big impact that I would get from coffee, much more different. I'd say this is like what 20% of what a coffee cup of coffee is.
Mhm.
So I've noticed that in my sleep, and beginning to recognize that is I'm probably better off for it.
Mm,
And
interesting.
because I'm still sensitive to it, because I go one day on, one day off. I'm just like
Are you a fast oxidizer?
a fast oxid. I have no idea. I'm what would
Yeah.
entail if I were a fast oxidizer?
So does it go through your body really quick?
I think I'm a slow oxidizer.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it lingers throughout the day
Yeah.
until
That would
nighttime.
make sense because in the past, when I wouldn't give myself a break from caffeine, I would use like theanine to like bring up my GABA and to like make myself relax a little bit more.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I would think that I'm a slow metabolizer.
You're just like me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do drink caffeine.
Yeah.
It comes from matcha. Matcha latte seems to have the slow impact.
Well, it's also whenever you mix it with other compounds too, because if it was just a straight black coffee with water, then it delivers faster. But if you were to mix it with like with in a latte form,
Yeah.
it absorbs slowly too.
However, we're both slow oxidizer, meaning if you take that shiznik at 2 p.m., you best believe it's gonna be hard to go to sleep.
12 p.m. is just when I'm getting started, dude. like, like this 12 p.m. Like, damn,
Yeah.
I got 3 or 4 more hours left of my day.
Jeez, man. Yes, you're right. Coffee, if you add butter, becomes slower,
Mhm.
right? With that crash. And a lot of people don't know that. And they drink coffee and they're like, they go high and then they go super low
Mhm.
really quick. And you stop that by drinking bulletproof coffee, but I don't suggest bulletproof coffee because that thing has a lot of crap in it too. I don't know if you ever checked the ingredient list. I might be wrong, but last time I checked, it has scientific words that I don't like.
Yeah,
I
it
might be
might have a couple gums and binding compounds in there.
and I don't want that
Yeah,
shiznik in my
yeah.
body.
I haven't touched it in a good while.
It's good though. I really like it.
It's very effective.
Yeah.
Well, just to be clear, that Dave Asprey is no longer the CEO of Bulletproof.
Really?
That's why like they're having more leeway with the things that they're releasing.
Oh.
They're not up to the standard of good old Dave Asprey.
See.
But he's thinking about taking back up the mantle and being more involved in it,
Mm,
from what I've seen. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, dude. I stopped taking that. I
Yeah.
stopped. I stopped drinking that a long time ago. But it's all about matcha for me now. Um, I traded it with caffeine, like coffee,
Hmm.
just because the coffee, even if I put butter in it, I get nervous, I get jittery, and yes, I still get it from matcha, but it's a lot more with coffee.
Hmm.
It's a lot more.
I did think about you the other day as well when I was taking this different coffee approach, because I thought of Paul Chek
Hmm.
and the way that he has his own coffee machine.
Ah,
It's like this whole little like golden Aladdin's lamp setup, and I'm like, dude, like that's the best way to make coffee. And I got this shitty McCormick black plastic coffee maker at home.
hmm,
And like obviously he's not gonna give you the best cup of coffee at
hmm,
home. So I've been having to source my coffee at a shop down the street, and they serve a nitro cold brew.
hmm,
And I like nitro because it preserves some of the compounds in the coffee itself, and cold brew because it's less acidic.
hmm.
And so I know that I'm good in order for me to like continue my habit, that I do see some benefit from it. I'm going there for my coffee. And unfortunately, I don't find many other good nitro cold brews in other places, but I know because I'm not making the best cup of coffee at home, like until I get like the proper equipment, that I'm not gonna be making coffee at home, which is good because I can just wake up, walk to my kitchen and make a cup of coffee and I'll be set, and then like I won't do anything for the rest of the day. I'm just like, I'll just drink more coffee.
See, that's the reason that espresso that I have over there. That's why I have it because of Paul Chek.
Uh,
Because when he made it, I looked at it. I'm like, damn, that looks so delicious. And
right?
he had butter. Oh my god, that looks so delicious.
Yeah.
And so I'm over here in my mind. What if I buy an espresso machine and I do the same thing, and maybe I can save money?
Yeah.
Let's just say I did do it.
Yeah.
I did not save money.
No, you spend
because
more
I
money on it.
left that on the side of the corner. Like it's just there
You
now.
don't use it?
I don't
Yeah.
use it. For me, it's a holistic approach again. It's environmental. I want to be around people. I want to be at a coffee shop.
Mm.
It's pleasure because it somehow just stimulates my mind.
Yeah.
It
Nu
helps me focus,
nootropic.
nootropic,
Yeah.
and it helps me focus on my work,
Mm.
right? So I will use that excuse that I should drink coffee so that way I can focus on work. But in reality, it's because of all the stimulant and environmental effect and always being jittery.
Mm.
That's the best way I can tell you is I'm very comfortable being jittery
Mm.
because it goes back to my childhood. My dad is he loves coffee, and maybe that's something I learned from him.
Mm.
And he's always jittery.
There's always a reward at a
Yeah,
couple at the end of a cup of
there
coffee.
is a reward off of that
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. I do like that whole coffee shop vibe. Like I go to
Oh
the coffee shop,
yeah,
that coffee
it's
shop that I
nice.
go to. Like I'm not in a rush to leave out of there. I'm just like I'm gonna get my coffee and find a seat,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just gonna absorb. I like the atmosphere is very important too in the space that you consume things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure I can do better about where I have my meals, but at this point in time, like not very many people eat the way I do, eat when I do. And so it's very hard to find someone face to face to have a meal with, which is, I think, like above all, people should prefer to eat with a person rather than by yourself or in front of a cell phone.
It's a pleasure, dude.
Yeah,
It's so pleasure.
that's up
Those
there.
are great, dude.
What?
Whenever you're talking to somebody, yeah, y'all have meaningful conversations, and you're just eating, and you're taking your time with it, and you're not just
You're hearing the other person's reaction to the food.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's beautiful, dude. Ah, okay. Where was I?
You're ordering water at a restaurant.
Oh yeah. So I used to be that person where I would ask the server, "Where did this water come from?" Up dead ass. And then I'm serious. Like then
Which lake was this water sourced at, sir?
exactly. And that was who I was. I used to say, where'd you get this water from? Is this beef grass fed?
Oh, you're a handful, dude.
I swear. And my friend in front of me was just like, I
Yeah,
can't believe you're asking them this. I can't believe you're doing this.
yeah.
I'm just like, but I have to know. Did you use canola oil on this food? So that's why I asked. And then I just got to a point where I gave myself grace and I said, you know what? It's fine. I don't have to be so strict and
Let things be as they are.
I know I can't control everything and I'm missing these beautiful experiences with friends. And so I gave myself permission to
You can let yourself slide because you know how to
sometimes
recover.
exactly
You know
let
that
it go.
you know that one restaurant, that Chinese restaurant.
Which one?
It's a shitty one, rice box.
Okay.
Yeah. So I used to think that they had like a overall general good like selection of food, and then they had like this curry dish. You can get whatever meats you want with it. And so I go one time thinking that like, oh, this is a decent meal. Let me just get something from here and I'll head home. And I noticed that they probably have the sauce and the vegetables separately, but what they always tend to do is cook with a particular type of oil to either fry the chicken or fry the vegetables. And so I started thinking about it, and the reason why I started thinking about it because at the end of my meal, when it's at the bottom of the plastic box, I saw the separation of the oil and the curry sauce. I'm like, this shit's not even blended. Like they're just using the oil just to like fucking heat up everything as quickly as possible. And I'm just
Dang,
like,
bro.
it's definitely vegetable oil. It's not olive oil. It's not coconut oil because they're not going to pay top dollar for that.
No, they're not.
And I'm just like, God damn, I'm just like, I've had it. I can't have this stuff. The only safe bet that I have this day, and it's if I need something quick. Even then, like I gotta spend like $13 to go to Chipotle. I'll get some white rice and I'll get some veggies and some cheese and some meat and maybe a tortilla. I can handle it here and every now and again. But I'm just like, there's just not many places out there, man, that I can really enjoy. And then, like you're saying, like that sucks to not be able to enjoy like a meal with like a particular person or
Mhm.
friend, whatnot. But that's painful.
It is.
That's
It is.
painful too.
And um, it took me a while to realize that, and I would go as far as bringing my own meal, believe it or not.
For sure.
So now we'll find a middle ground,
Mm.
like barbecue.
Yeah.
I know there's no canola oil in that,
Yeah.
you know,
Definitely.
and I know I'll just get the meat,
Hmm.
even though it's not grass fed. Grass
Some
fed,
pickled onions, some pickles.
some pickle onions. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
do that as well.
Yeah. Have you ever been to the pit room?
Can't do it, dude.
You can't do it.
Can't do it.
It's very expensive. But
Not
why?
only
Why?
not
But
only
why
that,
can't you do it?
because it has a lot of pepper
Okay. Yeah.
and it's
Pepper's
spicy.
disruptive.
It's just spicy, dude. Not
You
even
you can
disrupted. It's just
you
spicy.
you can't withstand spice.
Nah, it's crazy because my mom, or yeah, my parents always say like they're like, I don't know if I, you know, raised a Mexican kid or an American kid because
Mi niño está huevón.
nah, no, no. So it's funny because they're like, man, you're more American than Mexican,
Mhm.
and that's why they had to bring the temperature down when they make food for me.
Okay.
They would either eliminate it or just make it less spicy
Yeah.
for me to consume it. And my
It's
dad,
almost like gaslighting. Like parents have to make their food spicy in order for you to eat it. It's just like because it's not good quality food, but
mhm.
like, oh, you don't like it because it's too hot. I'm like, no, I like it.
Yeah.
I like hot food, and you eat it anyway just to like prove them wrong.
Oh, man, jeez, proving people wrong, huh?
Mm.
I still do that sometimes. Um, so this battery is gonna, or the phone's gonna turn off in a bit.
Yeah, we
So
can cut it.
yeah,
What a pleasure. What an honor, man.
yeah, man,
This was fun.
it was a journey,
Yeah.
and I want to thank you for coming to the Alex show. I'm hiding away from Alejandro's, so I say Alex
You
show.
should do Alejandro, dude.
Okay, from the Alejandro.
Yeah.
If you want to be authentic, Alejandro
Alejandro.
show. So thank you for joining me, and I hope we can make another podcast. And yeah, another thing is that you broke my podcast virginity. So
Yeah,
thank you for that.
this is your first. You did well.
Thank you, man.
You did well.
But anyways, thank you, brother, for showing up, man. I
Yeah,
appreciate
thank
it.
you, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Here, give me dabs.
You got it.
Namaste.
Namaste.